Hello everyone, this is Felipe Grisi talking and now I invite you to play AngryBots. AngryBots is a game that works like a demonstration for Unity3d. The game is short but pretty nice and we're going to discuss how I created and implemented its sounds. You control a character that is trapped in some kind of high-tech facility or something like that, and you have to escape this place. You'll eventually face some enemies that guard the facility. In order to do so, your character is armed with a machine gun, which is the only weapon of the game. So for that weapon, I recorded a Taurus SMT-40. It's actually a 40 caliber submachine gun made in Brazil and used by Brazilian Federal Police and Special Forces. We went outside and recorded the police shooting using a Rode MTG-1 and an APG Perception 420 plugged into a Tascam GR100 MK2 recorder. To compose the final sound, I used 4 layers. In 2 of them, I used the recorded sounds, but with different EQs. The third layer was to simulate the noise from the weapon, so it's a very metallic sound, and I got that simply by striking these 2 tools against each other. Fourth layer was designed in Super Collider. It's a sine wave at a very low frequency, precisely 50 Hz. Note that in lines 10 and 11 I programmed a percussive envelope for the sine wave. This will make the sound follow the percussive attacks of the machine gun. AngryBots also has some nice ambient sounds. All of them were accomplished using Super Collider, precisely Clank U-Gen. Clank is a resonator U-Gen, with which you can use an array of frequencies to make them resonate. Note that in line 4, for the ambience background hum file, we use the frequencies 50, 60 and 80 Hz. The result is the following. The ambience inside dark sound used basically the same synth depth, but now with more frequencies resonating. Check the array of frequencies in line 8 and listen to the result. The rain sound also used the synth depth with Clank U-Gen. I mixed the resonator with the rain sound itself to compose the rain of the game. Here is the sound of the rain. Now the resonator. And now both mixed. All these ambient sounds in AngryBots are said to be 3D sound in Unity, so when the character gets far from the sound source, he can perceive the difference in volume. The alert sound that some enemies have was also designed in Super Collider. They are basically the same synth depth as the low layer of the machine gun sound. Obviously, for the alert sound I used a much higher frequency, as you can see in line 18. The timbre is given by the Synos U-Gen. So if I wanted to change timbre, I just had to change the U-Gen to LF-Sol or LF3 for instance. For the door opening sound, I recorded the trunk of my car opening. My car is a Ford car, like the one you're seeing. I used the Rode MTG-1 for this one. The door opening and closing is exactly the same file. I just reversed it to have the adequate sound of a door opening and closing. One interesting sound is the mech enemy footstep. This is a very large robot that guards the facility where the character is trapped. For that sound I used the sound library that I already had. I just pitched it down a little bit to add the sense of a bigger robot. I wanted to add the sound of the mech's articulations working. For that I recorded an electric screwdriver. I used the Tascam GR100 with its built-in microphones. For the bullet hit metal sound, I strike the hammer in a metal food tray. I cut the resonance of the metal a little bit to shorten the file. I hit different parts of the tray to get different timbres so I could have good variations. For the ricochet sound, Super Collider again was very handy. I created another synth depth that plays back any audio file. This synth depth was programmed to modulate the speed rate of the playback in a linear way. In other words, I created an envelope not for the amplitude of the sound, but for its playback speed. In this case, the envelope is linear and its duration is the same as any sound file I load into Super Collider. The envelope and its duration was programmed in line 10 of the synth depth. In line 17, I can set the initial speed rate, which is the start rate argument of the synth depth, and the final speed rate, which is the end rate argument. If I set the speed rate to 1, I'll have the normal speed playback. If I set it to 0.5, I'll halve the speed. And if I set to 2, I'll double it. The intention here was to create a slightly tuning the sound, so I used the same recording as the bullet hitting metal file, with the hammer and the food tray, and loaded it into Super Collider. The result is the following. The synth depth allows me to do some interesting stuff. For example, if I set the final rate to 0.1, the result would be the following. Here is the spreadsheet containing all the sounds in AngryBots. It contains all the sounds from the project and some notes about the recordings, like date and revision notes. The spreadsheet does not contain the song you're hearing, which was also composed by me though. Unity3d is a very versatile and powerful tool for video game development. You can make a whole game using only this tool, including audio implementation. It's a good choice, especially for indie game companies. Thank you very much for watching this video. I would like to thank Leonard Paul and the School of Video Game Audio for this opportunity. Feel free to contact me anytime. See you next time.